Really? From the government?
Yeah.
Fuck.
You can only use it for, rent taxpayer stuff and taxpayers pay.
And how do they feel about that?
Good, I think.
Because it makes a lot of money.
Denmark has always been good at supporting different kinds of culture.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a great.
we support the fucking Opera House with 350 million a year, That's the Opera House, right? So they can fund little people like us too. No problem.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but everybody's at work here works on volunteer basis. Nobody get paid.
Except me.
Related to, yeah.
How does it affect like the kind of punk rock kind of attitude though of like, fuck you government, fuck you sister?
It doesn't affect it that much.
Sure.
No.
But that means that people can't say that anymore.
Yeah, they can. There are rules, We can't, promote drugs. We can't have inside riots and that kind of shit when we're on the radio and on the TV. But people basically say whatever they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you are right in somehow, because there are certain rules to follow when you make television like this.
Yeah.
But that's the only way we can do it. So we have time on the national TV. You can always make a lot of TV and go stream it on YouTube and everything. But if you want to get out in the television, there are certain rules to follow. But we are very, very good to do our show.
Yeah.
Because we all have opinion, and this place is very unique. Because this is a free town, and it is a free town.
Yeah.
With its own infrastructure and everything.
And and they decide what they want to do, and I decide what I want to do at my show. Nobody saying, hey, Rob, you have to do this and that. Saying, no, I'm not doing that, I'm doing my show. Yeah.
You are not closed down because you say your opinion no matter.
No.
Okay.
Also during the pandemien with Corona, and now the war with Ukraine and everything, people have a lot of opinions.
Yeah.
And you can speak freely.
Yeah. I'd never seen anything quite like this in terms of it being of hippie camps or hippie communes had so much money put into it.
But Christiania is very self-organized still.
Yeah.
But we still pay for electricity and water, and we didn't do that back then in the old times,
But you're making it yourself with solar panels and...
No. It's all on the grid.
Okay, but you were just like tapping in.
Yeah, back then. But now it's all normalized and with meters on it and shit, Yeah. And it's not particularly cheap to live out here. You pay rent to Christiania, and that's not cheap,
Cheap.
It might be cheaper than average for Copenhagen, All big cities are fucking expensive for normal people, right? But it's not cheap like that, I live cheaper out on Nørrebro where I live.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the real hippie commune out there, is it?
No. It's a very diverse neighborhood. A lot of immigrants, a lot of poor students. Yeah.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
No, that's cool.
You want to sit down and watch this?
Det kan en. Ja.
Du må lytte så lidt til Christiania har været min moderator af Råbert, der er i studiet. Og nu har jeg fået besøg af busker-metal-sange og hans manager Markus.
Hello.
So, Tim, how did you find this was not your first visit to Denmark? Can you go home?
No, yeah, this is my second visit to Denmark. Yeah, first time I came here was when I went to a Burning Man style festival called Borderland. As a punter, and I nearly came here just after the festival, but we didn't make it.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah. Well, today you're having the Graham to
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
And I have to admit something to the small audience.
Go on.
Yeah, the reason I know about you and your music, that's because of Big Tent. Because they go up Big Tent.
Big tech.
Tent. All the big tent.
All the big tech.
Right, yeah. Because YouTube knows me well. And YouTube knows I like blues, and they suggested listening to this number, New Age Blues. And I was like, yeah, I think, why not? And I thought, hey, fuck, this guy's cool, man. You've really got some skills. Yeah, you got a very soft voice to go with the hard music.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that, I don't know. Yeah, I guess yeah, I've kind of pulled in a few variety of sounds, and I guess they work. Yeah, I guess it's working.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It does.
Thank you.
Well, how long have you been playing on the street?
I've probably done about a decade now, to be honest. When I first started playing, I was about 20 or even 19, I think, when I first started jamming on the street. And it's evolved a lot over the years. I used to play with a drummer. I played a lot just as like a stripped down blues kind of set. It was like a Delta blues set that kind of evolved into this like rock set with a huge fucking, sorry, I didn't mean to swear, sorry for cursing. It just kind of came out. But yeah, like the drum setup just kind of evolved and got bigger and bigger and better and better. And now I've added like a little cowbell. You're at the Sony side, you have a cowbell.
Yeah, I know that yesterday people were like, more cowbell.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, no, it's a good vibe. So yeah, that's coming out on the third album now. And yeah, it's just over the years it's progressed, and I've written more songs to suit the setup as it's progressed and as it's gotten more complicated.
Sure.
Yeah.
And now you're touring Europe, you've been touring the United States too?
Yeah.
How was that?
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. United States is you hear a lot about the country before you go out there, and then you go out there, and it was amazing. It was everything I thought it was going to be, but in a good way.
Oh, yeah, cool.
There's a lot of shit propaganda about United States, and all I can say is a lot of people are beautiful out there.
Yeah, that's a fucking thing, because when you watch American news, it's all going to hell. But every American I ever met,
it's because
it's nice people.
Do you know why, mate? It's because that news sells a lot better. That's right. Yeah, so don't believe the hype.
It does. Think of it, man.
Exactly.
Okay, I got to ask about the tattoo on the nose.
Why is everyone else about that one? One back and side of my face. How about that one? Why is it always the nose tattoo?
Because it looks straight, man, and it's different. So what's the story with it?
Okay, so the story is I was at Stonehenge. I regularly go to Stonehenge.
Yeah.
Just to like, I guess it's a bit of a paganistic pilgrimage, but then also it's I guess an opportunity to get off my nut and party.
Yeah.
So that's what I do.
So you've been partying there majority of wages?
Yeah, I've been playing there for many years, in the solstices, the equinoxes sometimes. I haven't been to an equinox for a long time, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, the solstice is definitely something I do. And I've got a whole stage, sound system, and all kinds of a huge setup that I often bring down there or to other stone circles in the UK.
Okay.
And just put on a show for people who arrive, and you know what I mean? It's a vibe. Anyways, a few years back, probably was around 2017 or 18, something like that. We went to Stonehenge for winter solstice, and the girls were all tripping on magic mushrooms and stuff like that, Sure. And all the girls started doing face paintings, and my girlfriend at the time, she was like, Cam, do you want a face paint? And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So she had just like this little mascara pen, and then she went, I don't know what to do. I'm not sure what I'm going to do to your face. I can't think of anything. And I was like, do something right now. And because we were all just like somehow interconnected and tripping, and we had all that and also the time of the year, being in alignment with the planets, I don't know, she just drew this shit straight on my fucking face. And everyone's like, that's fucking sick. Look at that, man. And I was like, I know, it looks cool. Anyways, that night is the longest night of the year. And then in the morning, the sun came up, rose over the hills. I was in the stone circle. I just finished playing a little djembe jam. And I walked out under the arch of the stones. Yeah. And the sunlight hit my face on this side, and I just knew shit in my life was going to change. And I knew that I had to have this symbol with me for the next chapter in my journey.
Great, man. Great.
So that's the fucking story.
Yeah.
Entertains.
That's a great story, man.
Thank you.
I mean, you've got the whole feeling and solving and enjoy, but a lot of people do.
Well, it's probably the main one of mine that I did put a lot of it was a good enough reason to get one, especially on the face, right? It was my first face tattoo, and then after that I got this one, which I actually got on a summer solstice a few years later. At a different stone circle, I got this one. This was at Avery Stone Circle. So I got one for the winter solstice at Stonehenge. I got another one for the summer solstice at Avery. But yeah, a lot of my tattoos, I just literally got them spur of the moment. I was like, that looks cool, put it on me right now. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, on the face, you've got to take your time, and you've got to be like, hang on a minute.
Exactly.
My mum's going to see this, and it's going to be on my face for the rest of my life. Better get a good one. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's why I like face tattoos though, because they kind of force you to escape. Yeah, and kind of escape.
I'm over the time of going now. I don't think I'll do it. The face tat. No.
Have you got any?
But I've got tats on my legs and arms, and all of them mean something. All of them are specially designed for me, you know. I come up with the idea, go to a guy, give him his artistic influence, you know, and take what he delivers, you know. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess it can affect you negatively, like having a face tattoo. You know, it has changed some of my interactions with certain people, but generally the people that judge me in a negative way for me having a face tattoo are people I don't really want to be around anyway. So it kind of helps me, you know, it's kind of, like I don't get to see the people.
Yeah.
You know?
When you have face tattoo, it comes off aggressive in some way.
It can do.
Like yours is soft, you know. That's why I am soft and non-aggressive.
Yeah.
Because it's organic and and it's not right in your face because it's on the side of your nose. So exciting.
Yeah. I think it depends on the person as well. You know, I think you can tell I'm not an aggressive person, and if I want to be.
Exactly.
But yeah, like it doesn't come through in that way. You know. Yeah.
And you have all the right hippie vibes. You played at the Europa.
I did. I did. Yeah. That was an interesting one. Yeah. I remember the first couple of Extinction Rebellions were really interesting, and then after that, I kind of lost me, to be honest with you.
Okay, why?
Just narcissism. Yeah. Straight up narcissism. And that's the problem I find with the environmental movement. And a lot of the leftist movements, they get kind of swamped by narcissism. Yeah. People thinking that because they've got the moral high ground, they can tell people what to do and that they're better than everyone else. And I don't really vibe with that. That's not going to bring about the change we need in the world. Yeah. I've actually, a lot of my beliefs have changed over the last 5 years. Yeah. To be honest with you, I'm still very much hippie, but I'm more about kind of pure freedom. Yeah. And that kind of thing. I'm less about the kind of freedom where people control it, to be honest with you. Yeah.
But it's the same problem everywhere. Assholes in abundance everywhere in the world.
Absolutely.
Even in Christiania, everybody here is meetings, you order a meeting and decide what to do. And at every meeting, there's some asshole talking just to hear himself talk. It's inimitable.
Yeah. I mean, would you guys class yourself as almost an anarchist society? Or was that the original idea?
I'm sure a lot of people would choose that, you know, do it yourself, and that's kind of the ideology out here.
Yeah. And
but it doesn't always work like that.
No, it doesn't.
No, because when people take responsibility, they also feel the responsibility, you know. And instead of meetings and they are going, hey, I did this, I did that, you did shit, you know. So I have more to say than you have because I'm actually doing shit, you know. So it kind of build up a power role anyway for the people who take on the responsibilities, you know.
Absolutely. He's naturally established themselves. Yeah. Whether or not we want them or not. Yeah. How hard we try and suppress them, they come apparent in time, and dominance kind of occurs with certain people. Some people are more dominant, some people are less dominant. It's the way of the world. Maybe Mother Nature intended this. You know what I mean? And we got to ask ourselves, is that? I
don't know about that.
How much do we go against that, or how much do we allow it to be, or what's nature and what's nurture? You know what I mean? Yeah. It's very confusing and complicated, and I don't think we're ever going to completely understand it. But I think trying to do the right thing is you know, that's also down to perspective. It's hard, man. It's hard. If it was easy, we'd have figured it out by now.
It's not for hands. It's not about always doing the right thing. It's about trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
That's important.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, now a question for you, Marcus. How did you become your own friends? Or?
Well, the thing was, I was living in Camden in London where he played all the time, and I remember once I studied music production in LA and everything, blah blah, and then I came out of Camden Town Station where I saw him. Well, before I saw him play, I heard him. I remember walking out of Camden Town Tube Station. Yeah, fucking hell, what is this? I walked over there and I saw this kid in white cowboy boots just moonwalking over the pavement. Okay, sounded incredible. And then we were like, hey, do you want to make a record? And we did a couple of projects, and then one day he came up with these foot drums. Yeah. And the thing was, before his video sort of went viral on Facebook, he was playing with those foot drums on the street. And there was a demo CD Cam was selling on the street that, did years back. And he kind of was saying, look, what I do on the street now, that's not what I sound like anymore. Do you just want to make a record? And then we recorded it in 3 days, I think. I see. So basically, Cam Street said that's what eventually became I see.
Yeah.
And while I was mixing it, that's when sort of this video started exploding and more people got in touch. And then Cam went, well, do you also want to be my manager? And like an idiot, I said yes. And now I'm doing like some decision. So it was the best decision of my life, to be honest. Now I'm doing 70-hour work weeks. And the second call I ever got as his manager was Warner Brothers and Ted Lasso.
Shit.
So it all really went from there. But it was always just this organic thing of him just consistently pushing that street show and consistently seeing what can I do with this, how can I make it more interesting, how can I pull more people. And I think the interesting thing about that first album is when you listen to it, it's all songs that are designed to stop people in the street, like just grab them immediately. And you see it at live shows, they still do it, like it's no coincidence. I think you know, when you start the show, you kind of start it.
I've seen that videos from the streets.
And that's what really all made it happen. And then that jump from like street to live touring happened organically.
So where's it gonna go?
Well,
We'll see, innit? Well, we'll see. Do you know where you're going to go?
No.
Does anyone know where we're going to go? Is there a meaning to this?
Probably.
Is there?
I'm gonna find it.
well, what I can tell you is the third album was already recorded and I'm mixing it right now. It's coming out in the summer, and it's actually, how would you describe it, mate?
It's a bit heavier than some other stuff, but there's a few blues ones on there, but they're heavy blues. I don't know.
It's very light energy. So
high energy.
You think the first album was like street rock, and then the second album was like heavy, aggressive grunge. Sort of the third album meets it somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
Which I think is going to be really interesting when people hear it, because there's some of the heavy stuff on there, but also some fairly soft stuff. So I think we're all really excited.
What did you listen to yourself growing up and starting to play music? What's the inspiration?
It was a lot of heavy metal when I was a kid. I grew up through like the new metal phase of like Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park, Slipknot, Soulfly. Soulfly was my favorite band actually when I was a kid.
Nice one.
Yes, you know it, Cavalera. And then I kind of got into blues. My dad got me into some of the older stuff like Led Zeppelin and Cream, the Beatles, obviously, all that kind of stuff. But I went through phases of different genres. You know, I had like a 50s rock and roll phase. Metal was a huge phase. It was a constant back and forth phase for me. Blues as well was a phase of going backwards and forwards. I went for an Oasis phase. As you do in England, you know, and start supporting a football team and listen to Oasis, do that, and just all wearing polo shirts, you get into fights with people over absolutely nothing. So I did all that stupid shit, and then I think as I got into like my late teens, I got into Jack White and his work in the White Stripes, and that really influenced me massively. And that influenced this show probably quite a bit. I would say. But then obviously like Led Zeppelin and Nirvana, and I try and bring grunge and that old school blues together. I try and do a fusion. That was the point of this show. It was like trying to fuse heavy metal, blues, and grunge all together. I tell you what, if you're talking blues, actually, if we're going to go blues and more old school and stuff that you're into, a guy called Nat Myers is really great. He's come out in America in the last few years. Yeah, he's really, really good. And he plays like old school kind of like country blues kind of stuff, but it sounds like an old record, like literally. Nat Myers, check him out. He's really, really good. Yeah, he's a cool kid as well. Who else is there? God, you put me on the spot, mate. I don't really know. Yeah, I don't know.
There's a lot of like stuff that we listen to on the way, like Levitation.
Yeah, Levitation Room. That's it. Levitation Room. Yeah, that's like psychedelic stuff.
Okay.
Temples. Yeah, they're pretty current as well. We've just got into them recently. But yeah, apart from that, I don't really know, to be honest.
Like, there's so much music out there now. Like, you find out places where you kind of, no one is really that big. You kind of see them touring, but there's so many great artists out there that have their own song.
Rolling Stones.
Are they still there?
Yeah, they are. Still going, something like that.
They're still playing?
Fucking God, no doubt.
Yeah, that's really... we don't...
Still stealing this.
You know what I mean? There's this whole idea that all music is sort of peaked and that's better, but when you listen to it, there's so much amazing new stuff coming out. Just, you know, they're not on the front pages of...
No, it's not a bit of stuff.
Yeah, and they're not on front pages of magazines anymore, but, you know, if you go on Spotify, within 10 minutes, you find, like, so many new apps. It's great.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think, well, it was great having you.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
I think we'll just continue the tour.
Yeah, keen to check it out, mate.
And if you're going to Hamburg tomorrow playing that?
Yeah, I think so.
There we go.
I do. It's probably told me 1,000 times, but I still don't know what the fuck they're doing in Hamburg.
The Germans are hardcore. You can bring the hard stuff.
Yeah.
No, bro.
Jolly good.
To see him, jolly good to see all the rest of us. And we're doing Hamburg, Berlin, and then Prague, and then we come back into Germany for a bit. Munich.
Okay, great.
Gonna be good.
Sure. And thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. Cool. Fit.